Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. And before we get going, a little reminder that the PlayStation podcast is back on Sundays at 7 PM UK time. So let's start once again with another weekend of chaos for Microsoft and Xbox. If you've been scrolling through YouTube, Twitter or Reddit, you've probably seen it. Claims that Walmart and Target are preparing to stop selling Xbox products altogether. At first glance, that sounds pretty serious, right? Especially considering how many rumors have been floating around about Microsoft possibly stepping away from the console business, even though Microsoft came out last week to say actually that's not true. The rumor started spreading shortly after reports came out that Costco, the retailer, had stopped stocking Xbox Series X and Series S consoles. Naturally, that got people talking. If Costco stopped selling them, maybe other major retailers were about to do the same. So when posts began circulating online claiming that Target and Walmart were next in line, people assumed it was true. The story picked up speed fast, spreading across forums, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and any of the places where discussions were taking place about the gaming sector. So some people went around and contacted certain stores, and a few quick phone calls later confirmed that as of now, Xbox consoles and accessories were very much still on the shelves in some of those retailers. And then to make things crystal clear, Microsoft themselves stepped in with another official statement. They went on and told Windows Central that Target and Walmart remain committed retail partners for Xbox. That includes consoles, accessories, and games. In other words, there's no pullback, no secret phase out, and no hidden agenda here. Apparently, you can still walk into your local Target or Walmart and pick up an Xbox today. Now, to be fair, the reason these rumors caught fire so quickly is that Xbox has had a rough few months. It's been a bit of a turbulent year for Microsoft's gaming division. We've seen price increases, layoffs, cancelled projects, and some high-profile departures from the company. So when people hear anything that sounds negative or uncertain, it tends to stick like mud. It's also easy to see how some players might start wondering what Microsoft's next move really is. There's been speculation about the company shifting more towards software and cloud gaming, or focusing on publishing games for other platforms, not just Xbox. So a story about retailers dropping Xbox products almost felt like it fit that narrative. But again, that's not what's happening here according to the updates from Microsoft. For now, Xbox consoles are still being sold at all major retailers except Costco. And Microsoft has made it clear that they're not pulling back from any physical hardware. The Costco situation seems to be the exception and apparently not the beginning of a trend. So guys, what do you think? Do you believe Xbox still has a strong future in the hardware space, or do you think Microsoft might eventually shift its focus away from consoles altogether? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious where you stand on this one. Anyway, let's move on. Fans of Final Fantasy VII have waited decades to see how their legendary story would be retold. And during a recent appearance at the Brazil game show, director Naoki Hamaguchi finally gave us some insight into how the third and final chapter of the remake trilogy is shaping up. Hamaguchi revealed that the ending of part 3 is already fully envisioned in his mind. He said he's confident that this conclusion will bring satisfaction to everyone, both the longtime fans of the series who remember the original from 1997 and those who joined the journey through the remake of the series. That's a big promise. After all, Final Fantasy VII isn't just a game for many, it's a piece of gaming history. So how do you retell something so iconic without losing its heart? Hamaguchi explained that the decision to split the remake into 3 parts was about respecting the story's scale and the legacy. He admitted he could have cut corners to make it fit into one game, but said that would have been unfair to the fans who grew up with the game. He wanted to take full advantage of modern technology to tell the story in the way it truly deserved to be told. He also touched on one of the most debated creative choices in the remake, and that is the introduction of the mysterious whispers. They weren't just added for shock value, they were designed to bring new possibilities and alternate outcomes into a familiar story, giving both returning players and newcomers something to speculate about. It's that balance between nostalgia and surprise that's kept people hooked. On the gameplay side of things, Hamaguchi spoke proudly about the battle system, which blends traditional turn-based mechanics with real-time action. Transforming the old-school active time battle system into something modern was not easy, but it is one of the elements in the game that he's most proud of. It gives players the best of both worlds, strategy and speed. He also mentioned that each entry in the trilogy carries its own emotional theme. The first game, Remake, focused on reunion, the return of Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and the world of Midgar. The second, Rebirth, went on to explore bonds, the relationship between characters, and the emotions leading up to somebody's fate in the game. I'm not going to mention it in case you haven't played the game, so I don't want to spoil it for you. And while he didn't reveal Part 3's central theme just yet, he did hint that it would tie everything together in a powerful emotional conclusion. As for the release details, again, there's no teaser trailer or anything like that, but Hamaguchi confirmed that development is very well underway. The game is being made for the PlayStation 5 to start with later versions planned for PC, Xbox Series X and S, and also the Nintendo Switch 2. No word yet on whether those other versions will launch simultaneously, but the good news is that progress is steady and it's very likely going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive to start with, which then leads on to the other platforms over a period of time. Probably 12 months, I would have thought. So while we wait for more official updates, it's clear that the final chapter of this remake trilogy aims to deliver not just closure, but a deeply emotional send-off for one of the most beloved stories in gaming. While so many people are waiting on this final Part 3 to conclude the series, we hopefully get to see some kind of trailer or teaser, perhaps at the Game Awards in a couple of months' time. Now moving on to another game which took the industry by storm, and that is Black Myth Wukong. This game was one of 2024's biggest surprises. The action RPG from Chinese developer Game Science took the world literally by storm, mixing stunning visuals with deep, challenging gameplay inspired by Journey to the West. Well, the developers just announced a brand new update rolling out today, October the 13th, and it's a massive one. The patch aims to improve performance, fix bugs, and enhance overall stability across all platforms. But before players rush to install it, there are a few things to keep in mind. Because of the sheer scale of the update, players who've installed mods are being warned to uninstall them first and verify their game files. Otherwise, those mods could cause crashes or even stop the game from launching. And if you're playing on PlayStation 5, be ready to free up a lot of space. It's around 93.5 gigabytes to be exact. That's due to the differences in how the PlayStation 5 handles file compression. So it's not a small patch by any means. Game Science also mentioned that the update will roll out gradually, region by region, so to make sure everything runs smoothly. So if you don't get the update right away, don't panic, it is on the way. Since its release in August 2024, Black Myth Wukong has been a massive success, selling over 20 million copies in its first 1 month and received glowing reviews for its art direction, combat design, and storytelling. Players praised its reinterpretation of the Monkey King myth, following the Destined One, a warrior on a journey to recover 6 sacred relics tied to Sun Wukong's senses. And with this update coming, it's clear the team at Game Science is not slowing down. They're already hard at work on the sequel, the next project in the series, and that is Black Myth Zhongkui, which will reportedly build on the same universe. So if you've been waiting to revisit Wukong's world, the update might be the perfect time to jump back in. So let's move on and talk about the next generation of gaming consoles. The gaming world might be on the edge of a major change here, because after years of rumors, leaks, quiet hints from certain industry insiders, it's starting to look like both Sony and Microsoft are preparing for the next big step, the PlayStation 6 and the next generation Xbox, despite the mixed signals and rumors that Xbox is exiting the hardware market. And the target year for these consoles looks like it's going to be 2027. Now, some may say that is too soon, others may say it's too far away. But when you think about it, the PlayStation 5 launched back in 2020. That's already 5 years. A 2027 release would mean a 7-year console cycle, something that lines up perfectly with how both companies have handled their past generation. So what's actually going on behind the scenes then? Well, reports from reliable insiders like Kepler L2 suggest that Sony is aiming for a 2027 launch window for the PlayStation 6. Of course, the company is said to be cautious. Unexpected delays could still happen, but for now, 2027 seems to be the year they're working towards. What's interesting is how Sony seems to be doubling down on its partnership with AMD. In a recent joint presentation, AMD and Sony spoke about several new technologies that could reshape the PlayStation 6's hardware, which includes things like neural arrays and radiance cores. Now, that might sound like technical jargon, but here's what it really means. Neural arrays are designed to help the system process information much faster and more intelligently, especially when it comes to the visual detail and AI-based tasks in games. Radiance cores, on the other hand, they are said to be AMD's next leap in ray tracing, the technology that makes lighting and reflections look realistic. And if all of this works as described, it could mean a massive step up in how games look and perform on the PlayStation 6. Leaked details also point towards a new custom AMD chip codenamed Orion. This APU, which is a combination of CPU and GPU in one unit, is reportedly capable of up to 10 times better ray tracing performance than the current PlayStation 5. And that's a huge jump, especially considering that the PlayStation 5 already handles some visually stunning games. Now, the chip is set to be built using TSMC's advanced 3nm process, making it smaller, faster, and more efficient. Despite all that power, the PlayStation 6 might actually draw less energy, which is around 160 watts compared to the PlayStation 5 Pro, which currently runs between 200 and 240 watts. In simple terms, it means less heat, quieter fans, and more stable performance. But Sony's not just focusing on the main console this time. Reports also claim that the PlayStation 6 generation will include a handheld device, one that can connect to a dock, much like the Nintendo Switch. It's expected to run PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 titles through backwards compatibility. No updates on whether it's going to be capable of playing PlayStation 6 games. And by running through backwards compatibility, it's giving players access to an enormous library right from the start. The handheld's chip might include 16 RDNA 5 compute units, clocking up to 1.65 GHz when docked, and price-wise, insiders are hinting it could fall between $399 and $499, while the PlayStation 6 console itself could sit somewhere between $549 and $699 US. Now, over on Microsoft's side of things, it looks like the Xbox team is working on a very similar timeline of 2027. According to the YouTuber channel Moore's Law is Dead, Microsoft has been in talks with its partners about launching its next generation Xbox in 2027. Just like Sony, Microsoft is teaming up with AMD once again, but this time the chip in development is codenamed Magnus. Magnus is said to be made up of two chipsets, one for CPU and one for GPU, similar to how AMD builds its high-end PC hardware. Now, the CPU will reportedly use AMD's Zen 6 architecture, and the GPU will run on RDNA 5 technology, the same generation as the PlayStation 6's Orion chip. Together, the hardware could deliver a serious boost in performance, offering smoother frame rates and faster load times than what we have today. Now, Microsoft's new chip is expected to have a powerful AI processor capable of handling up to 110 trillion operations per second. That kind of power isn't just about gaming. It could play a role in things like image upscaling or AI-assisted tools, such as Microsoft's Copilot running directly on the console. But here's where things get quite interesting. While the Magnus chip could consume more power, somewhere between 250 and 350 watts, the performance advantage over Sony's PlayStation 6 might only be around 30% more. So even though the Xbox could be stronger on paper or more powerful on paper, the real world difference may not even be noticeable. Think of it like this: if a game runs at 4K resolution and 120 frames per second on the PlayStation 6, the Xbox might be able to push it to 4K with 144 frames per second. A nice improvement, but to the average gamer, is it really going to matter? Still, Microsoft might have another card up its sleeve here. Rumors suggest the company is planning a PC console hybrid, a system that not only plays Xbox games, but it could also run titles from platforms like Steam or GOG. That would be a huge move forward, unifying consoles and PC gaming under one roof, and it fits perfectly with Microsoft's long-term Xbox Play Anywhere vision, but I'm still unsure as to how Xbox or Microsoft actually makes money if gamers can access the Steam accounts and play Steam games, or access a Steam storefront and purchase through an Xbox platform. I mean, if Xbox makes a royalty on that purchase, I'm not really sure. It's not very clear how that part of the system works. Of course, all of this stuff on Xbox will come at a price. Literally, the next Xbox is rumored to cost way more than Sony's PlayStation 6, but exact numbers haven't been confirmed yet. It's also been rumored that the next Xbox will not be sold at a loss, and that it will be sold at profit, or at least cost from launch day, which could be a very risky move from Microsoft, considering this next generation console will be directly competing once again with PlayStation and Nintendo, whose gaming systems will reportedly cost less than the next Xbox console. And when you consider Microsoft's third-party approach to their games by putting their games everywhere, you have to really ask yourself, why would consumers buy an expensive console when the other two competitors are going to cost less and also play the same games? So what does this mean for us gamers? Well, if these reports are accurate, both Sony and Microsoft are heading into the next generation of consoles with very different goals. Sony seems to be doubling down on efficiency, design, and accessibility, offering both a home console and a handheld option. Meanwhile, Microsoft appears to be chasing the power and flexibility, a machine that might bridge the gap between console and PC once and for all. It raises some very interesting questions, and I don't think we have all the answers for just yet. Will gamers care more about raw performance or about convenience and ecosystem? Will Sony's handheld vision catch on, or will Microsoft hybrid model steal the spotlight? And perhaps the biggest question of all, are we ready for another generation of consoles in just 2 years' time? Is it too soon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this video, but this is something that I think we're going to need to discuss further. Therefore, on the next episode of the PlayStation podcast, we'll take a look at this subject in more detail. And of course, the PlayStation podcast will be taking place every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. UK time. Right then, let's move on. Now, reports are circulating that Nintendo has been hacked. There are reports that Nintendo may have been targeted by a hacking group known as Crimson Collective. The claim comes from a cyber intelligence firm called Hackmanac, which says the group posted a screenshot showing what appears to be Nintendo topic files. If true, that could mean the hackers have gained access to some form of company data. But as of now, Nintendo hasn't confirmed anything, so take this report with caution. Still, this wouldn't be the first time Crimson Collective has pulled something like this. Earlier this month, they reportedly hacked Red Hat, a major software company, stealing around 570 gigabytes of data from private GitHub repositories. Red Hat later confirmed the breach and said that the hackers had even tried to extort them. So if the attack on Nintendo is real, there's a good chance this group might have made similar demands. Unfortunately, cyber attacks against game companies have become far too common in recent years. Just think back to when Insomniac Games, the team behind Spider-Man and Wolverine, they were hacked in 2023, leaking confidential files and even personal employee data. Incidents like these not only threaten a company's projects, but also the privacy of the people who make the games that we love. If the reports are accurate, Nintendo could be facing a serious challenge. But for now, we'll have to wait and see how the company responds and whether these claims are verified. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next video.